you know my name, and I have done my PhD from Zhejiang University. It is the number third university in China, and it is number 56 in world ranking. All over the world, it is at number 56, 56. And I completed my PhD last year, 2020, in September, and my major was applied mathematics, focusing specifically on fluid dynamics, thermodynamics. You can say talking about theoretical physics. So basically, both mathematics and physics are my major subjects. And maybe in your future, maybe, I don't know, the course selection is always decided by the administration, so they know. But maybe in future, you can come to me in physics subject or again mathematics, I don't know. And before that, I did my master's and like my MPhil and master's from Quaid-e-Azam University. This is the number one university in Pakistan. And I also have been teaching in Quaid-e-Azam University before coming to China. And reaching here, of course, everywhere, whenever somebody asks me to introduce, I always mention that my mother and my father, both of my parents, it's their effort, their prayers, they have done a lot to make me to able to stand in front of you people. That's my introduction. Wherever you go, whenever you start a new subject and you go for to learn something new, the first thing, of course, in your mind, that why should I go there? Why should I learn this thing? Do I really need to learn? And if I need to learn, then where I will use this? And mostly people, those who are not from mathematics, those who hate mathematics, they always ask a very, I can say, stupid question, that what is the benefit of mathematics? What is the use of mathematics? So for a person who is dealing with mathematics, of course, this hurts, because mathematics is the language of the universe. Everything on the universe is constituted based on some mathematics. If there is no mathematics, there is no human, there is no birth, population, everywhere, business. If you are doing some business, you'll use mathematics. If you are growing up, you born in 1999 and you are growing up, you will calculate your age with mathematics. So everywhere, you can't exist without mathematics. So this question has no meaning, that what is that?
I said the time. The time. We also need maths to
Yeah,
for time.
everything is maths. So anyways, that is the thing about maths. But here we are going to start chapter 3, which is the rules for differentiation. And of course, first we should know why we need differentiation, why we need a differential, why we need a derivative. So for example, if you are standing on the top of a hill and at the top of the hill you are in the rest position and you want to go down to the city. At the top of the hill there is nothing except you, there is no food, nothing else, but you are standing there and you want to go to the city. Then you need some kind of a slope to go downwards. If you do not have a slope, then on the hill you can go in the horizontal direction. You can, if this is the top of the hill and you are standing here, and if there is no derivative, if there is no differential, if there is no slope, then you can only move here and there. You will never go to the city, to your home. You will never reach to your home. To reach to your home, You need a differential, you need a slope, whatever kind of slope is this, whether coming from here, coming from here, but of course this is a slope. Every point which is changing the direction is actually the slope, and it is actually the derivative. This is an example in your natural environment. Now let's go to business. If you are producing some products and you want to know, okay, if you're producing 10 products at a certain price rate and your profit is not sufficient and you want to earn more money, then first you will calculate to avoid the loss, to avoid the loss of taking risk. First you will do some calculation that whether you should increase the production or not, or if you increase the production, then what kind of the result will be, whether it will be a loss or benefit. So if you get the idea that okay, I'll get some benefit, then of course you will go for it. And if you get the idea that no, increasing the product will give me a loss, then you will stop there and you will save your money. So what do you need to calculate all this? You need a differential, you need a derivative. Whatever equation you have, you need a derivative. Another example, here I am in Wuxi and today is like 4-5 degrees centigrade. Now I want to know that what is the temperature inside the room and what is the temperature outside the room. There is a famous equation which is called heat equation, partial U by partial T equals to some constant, let's say alpha, partial square U by partial X square. This is an equation which is used to measure the heat transfer, which is used to check the difference of temperature, the difference of heat at a certain position, one position, and the other position, the difference of heat between these two positions. Or if you have a rod like this, then you want to know the temperature on this point of the rod and this point of the rod, then you need this equation. This is a heat equation, and this equation is purely based on the differentials. On the right hand side, this is second order derivative. On the left hand side, this is first order derivative. The symbols are partial. This is a partial derivative. We are not going into the partial derivative, but it is an advanced form of the derivative. The simple derivative is written as d by dx. And the more advanced version is partial by partial x. The partial is used when you are talking about two dimensions. Simple d by dx is used when you are talking about one dimension. If your function, for example, if your function is dependent on one variable, now this function f is dependent on one variable t. In this case, we use d by dt, the simple derivative. But if your function is depending on two variables, means there are two things which the change of two things is actually producing a change in the function. In that case, we use the partial derivative. So we are not going there. This is an advanced form, and I don't think that you will study this thing in your degree, because this is purely for the people dealing with mathematics. But we are only dealing with this case when we have only one dependent variable, and this variable is the responsible for change in the whole function. So if time changes, for example, we were talking about the heat transfer. So there are many things which can be the reason for the heat transfer, for the change in heat. If I stay inside the room for 20 minutes, 1 hour, or any time, then If, for example, I'm at home from morning to evening, then of course in the morning the temperature is very low, and in noon at 12 p.m. the temperature rises, it increases, and in the evening it decreases again. So what is the common factor which shows a change in the heat, in the temperature? It is the time. Morning, the time spent and the sun rises, the change in time and the heat transfer can be measured. Similarly, if I'm inside the room and I move out and go outside the room, then of course inside the temperature was higher and outside the temperature was less. But what was the change which is responsible for this heat transfer, or the change in temperature? It is the change of position. I change my position. I change my position from room to outside. So the position is the variable and temperature is function. Similarly, from morning to evening, time is the variable and temperature is function. To calculate all these things, we need a derivative. So there are many examples of using a differential in real life, of using a derivative in real life, and of course by the end of each section I will pick up some selected problems from the real life to discuss that how whatever we study the math in a given section, then how this section of the math is applicable in our real life. So after doing mathematics in every section of the chapters, we will do some real life examples to see how this section, how this portion of the mathematics which we have learned on board, how this portion is applicable in the real life. If you do not understand me, you can stop me anywhere. I feel very proud and happy if you ask questions, and I feel very sad and maybe if you do not ask questions, maybe I will not be good enough to give you good marks. But if you will keep asking questions and logical questions, you have a higher chance to get 100% of the marks. Now it's your choice whether to remain silent or whether to participate with me. And one thing you must keep in mind, that here we are only to discuss the things. Just consider me as just your lab fellow. Consider me, okay, you should give me respect as a teacher, but it does not mean that I am a dictator. It does not mean that you should not speak. Just discuss whatever comes in your mind, talk to me and discuss with me. Normally, I do not care about the attendance. Whoever wants to come, he can come. Whoever wants to leave, he can leave. But the university has certain requirements, so we have to check and we have to make a list of the attendance. So in that case, I cannot do anything. For me, personally, I don't care. If you are interested, come and sit and learn. If you are not interested, you can go. But we have some formality and we have to deal with it. We have to follow the rules. So I definitely have to give the list of the attendance at the end of the semester to the administration. And if your attendance is below a certain limit which is set by the university, then of course they will not allow you to come to the exam. They will not allow you to sit in the exams. In that case, I cannot do anything. So take care of these things. You already know these things. Dr. Thelma must have told you. So let's move on to the, if you want to say something, if you want to suggest me something, if you want to advise me how to teach, you are free enough to talk to me.
No.
We can start officially, and I'm moving to chapter 3 of the book. If she has already suggested you the book, you know the book name. And you don't need to write anything while I'm doing on the board. This is just for discussion. After this discussion, there are two things. I will try to upload the video lecture on YouTube, and I will also share the PDF of my these handwritten papers in the book, in the group. So you don't need to write, just listen to me, look at the board, and we are just here to discuss. So after this end of the session, I will share the PDF in class group, and also the video is recording, so I also try to upload the lecture on YouTube. And the other important thing is that every week we will have some homework, and the homework submission portal will be created on DingTalk, and the deadline every week. So I do not need to tell you that we have a homework or not. Every week we will get a homework, and the submission deadline will be the 11 p.m. before the night before Tuesday. Like every Monday 11 p.m. will be the submission deadline. So you will have, because on Tuesday we will have class, and on Wednesday we will have class. So most probably I will upload the homework on Thursday, and you will be supposed to submit your homework on or before Monday 2300 hours beating time, Chinese time. So be careful about it, and must note that most of the time I always change the marking style. So it always depends on my mood. Sometimes I do not take exam. I can give you some projects, and I will take online Viva. I will take like a presentation from you people, and you have to give your ideas about the thing. This is one option. Other option is of course exam. But in all that case, the final exam does not mean that if you score enough in final exam and you can pass. If you are not participating in the class, if you do not submit the homeworks, if you do not pass the quiz, pass the midterm exam, then final exam will give you nothing. So be careful, submit whatever you understand, in the homework. Try your best and do submit. Do not skip the homework. If you miss, then this is your responsibility. So two things which I cannot do anything. One, if you miss the attendance, the administration will deal with you. And the second thing, if you miss the homework, then I have nothing to do with you in the final score. You cannot ask me for any favor in the final. So never miss a homework.